the strange story of how nuns uncovered the house of Jesus in Nazareth, the house where Jesus supposedly grew up in, back in the news as archaeologist K.R.Dark's new book on the Nazareth home, shining a spotlight on the team of sisters who completed much of the excavation and their discoveries. It was one of the earliest examples of a major program of excavations initiated and directed by women. Dark wrote in his book, The Sisters of Nazareth Convent, a Roman period Byzantine and Crusader site in central Nazareth, Palestine Exploration Fund 2021, noted that it was the leader of the Sisters of Nazareth Nuns, Mother Giraud, who led these excavations. Dark said it was almost probably the only 19th century excavation with a mostly female team. And as reported in 2015, the house was cut into a rocky hillside and dates to the early 1st century. It was not until centuries later that people began to venerate the structure as Jesus' home. Whether Jesus really grew up there is unknown. Well, look, if it was the first centuries, obviously they would have known by the neighbors and the children of the neighbors. Now, Dark noted that it was remarkable that the sister took care to excavate the site before part of it was destroyed when their convent was built next to the site. It was one of the first rescue excavations in advance of the destruction of archaeological evidence by construction in this instance in the Middle East, Dark told Life Science. The finds by the 19th century nuns, as well as the convent's excavation records, helped Dark determine that the house dates to the early 1st century and that a church protected the site called Church of the Nutrition was built during the 4th century. At the time it was built, the church would have been just a cave church, a church located within a cave, before expanding to include buildings on the surface. A 4th century pilgrim named Sister Egeria seems to have written about this church in the late 4th century as a text often called the Itinerarium Egeria. She was a nun from Spain that was rich, and she was affluent, and she visited all the holy sites, and she kept a diary of where she was going. She went to the Sinai Peninsula all the way up to the Sea of Galilee and all the way up to Nazareth, everywhere. And she called everything blessed. I saw the blessed this, I saw the blessed that. You know, she loved using the word blessed. But Sister Egeria seems to have written about this church in the late 4th century in a text called the Itinerarium Egeri, describing it as big and very splendid cave in which she, the Virgin Mary, lived. An altar has been placed there, and within the actual cave is a place from which she drew water. The people who constructed the church were careful to protect not only the early 1st century house, but also a tomb that was built in the middle to late 1st century after the house had been abandoned. People may have believed that it was the tomb of St. Joseph, the father of Jesus, leading to the extra care, Dark said. During their excavation of the church, the sisters found the remains of a sarcophagus with human bones inside, suggesting that a saint may have been buried in the church centuries after Jesus' time. When the Crusaders took control of Nazareth around 1099 AD, they quickly rebuilt the Church of the Nutrition, dedicating a considerable amount of resources to its rebuilding. Despite the perilous military situation, the military position would deteriorate to the point where Nazareth was taken by Muslim army in 1187 AD. The Crusaders were often at war with different Muslim states in the region, as we know. The sisters' work revealed the final days of the church. They found a knight's spurs had been left hanging on the wall of the chapel, possibly as an offering by a knight. Those who were in charge of the church apparently knew the site was doomed. At the time, the house of Jesus was hurriedly sealed up in hopes of protecting it, the sisters found. Though the church was burned down during the Crusader War, the house of Jesus was left intact and not unsealed until the sisters did their 19th century excavation work. The modern-day Nazareth sisters The convent was built in the late 19th century, and today it's used by the Sisters of Nazareth nuns. Although few in number, the nuns undertake a wide range of charitable work in addition to their religious duties. They run a school, tend the ill, and help locate local disadvantaged people of all backgrounds in many other ways, Dark wrote. The sisters will watch over the artifacts and excavation records from the late 19th century excavations, although some of the artifacts have gone missing since that time. Pilgrims and tourists also come to see the house and, of course, other remains. When reached by Live Science, the modern-day Sisters of Nazareth declined comment on the excavation work of their 19th century predecessors. This is by Owen Jarris on Live Science. Please leave your comments. Thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.